Welcome to video 17 in the Creative Finance Masterclass. This is actually part 2 on notes. Hope you guys saw part 1. If you didn't see part 1, go watch that first and then come back to this one. We really broke down like several different strategies on how to create a note and how to exit the note and when to apply that and how to make money with it. But now what we want to do is actually, Pace wants to break down his favorite,
my best,
all-time favorite.
My all-time favorite note deal.
Yeah. All-time favorite note deal. And guys, you're going to want to like watch this twice because it's so fascinating and there's all these moving parts. But Pace is actually going to whiteboard this deal. He's going to break it down. There's multiple layers, but he's going to show you how he used a note to make money in like 5 different ways, or maybe even more. I don't know how many different ways.
Well, it's interesting because when you first start in wholesale, all you're thinking is like, how do I make that 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 so I can change my life? Which wholesale is really good at doing that.
Yeah.
But do you ever wonder like what happens after you wholesale the deal to the buyer? Like what are the buyers doing with these deals and how are they making money? Here's how I made money on this really great deal. So I had one of my students, Blake Smith, came to me. Okay, Blake comes to me. He says, Pace, I've got a property. I want to sell to you for $19,000. The problem with this property is that is a dirt lot. And I say to Blake, I don't want that deal for $19,000. I'm not interested in dirt lots right now. Go find a different buyer. You're the man. Good job finding a deal, but I'm not the buyer.
And it's just an infill lot here in Mesa.
It was literally a house that got burned down from a meth fire. Like literally, that's exactly what
But it's a buildable lot.
Yep, it's a buildable lot with a torched house on, basically gone, right? So Blake's like deflated, goes, okay, fine, I'll go find another deal. Well, the next night, essentially, I get a call from Rylas Dana. Rylas Dana, shout out. I love Rylas Dana. I've probably done a good 50, 60 deals with Rylas Dana over the last 3 or 4 years since I met him. Do you know Danny Perkinson here local? Mm-mm. Okay, Danny Perkinson introduced me to him, and Rylas and I have done a lot of deals. He's always referring leads to me because his clients, he's a probate attorney. So he deals with death. People die, and then they give their properties over to their sisters, brothers, cousins. Rylas introduces me to a lady named Cheryl. Okay, now Cheryl, there's literally no way that that's spelled right.
If your name is Cheryl and that's how you spell it,
what do you think? What do you think looks?
Oh,
better?
maybe that one's the right way.
See what I'm saying?
You know what? I changed my mind.
That's the right way.
I think. But is there 2 R's or 1 R?
There might be 3 R's, like in like the Burr strategy. So I get a referral from a girl named Rylas introduces me to Cheryl. Cheryl recently had a sister who passed away, unfortunately, very sad face. And her sister had a property that was a 2-bed, 1-bath house. And Cheryl says, look, Pace, I've been living in this property. I've been living in an apartment for the last 14 years, renting at $1,500. Okay, so she's been in an apartment for 14 years, $1,500. So I say to Cheryl, I go, congratulations, you got a house, 2-bed, 1-bath house. That's amazing.
You inherited. You own it for free.
Yeah, I'm like, so how can I help you? Like, I'm confused why I can help you. She goes, I don't want this house. And it's kind of funny because it's like beggars, I guess, can be choosers. Because like she didn't want the house that was being given to her, even though she had been renting for 14 years. She says, I don't want that 2-bed, 1-bath house. She says, Pace, Rylas told me that you're very creative and that you can help me trade this house, this 2-bed, 1-bath house, for a 3-bed, 2-bath house. I'm like, that is not how this works.
Is there like a catalog to go through the Pace catalog?
Yeah, exactly. Like here, pick and choose
one
whatever
out.
you want. Ironically, that's actually where this deal is heading.
Yeah.
So she says, I want this 2-bed, 1-bath house. I want to trade it in. And I go, probably not a good fit for you because that's not a good fit for me. And I go, I would probably buy the house from you at $130. She says, probably not a good fit for me. I think I have a buyer at $160. Cool. Next night at dinner, I'm having dinner with somebody who's building mobile homes. This is why it's important.
And Pace, this is completely independent, guys. There's 2 stories going on, right? There's the vacant lot, and then there's so no relation to these 2 deals.
No,
totally independent.
The Blake lot, right? The $19,000 Blake lot. This story with Rylas Dana is a completely different story. And then this dinner that I'm having,
I'm contributing to your story by drawing a lot.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So then I go to dinner. And I'm having dinner with a gentleman who's doing a bunch of infill lot, Mesa, mobile home stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, I just had a lot sent to me. Are you a buyer for this? And he goes, yeah, I'd probably be a buyer, blah, blah, blah. I go, how much are you all in on those houses? Lot, build, Everything. He says $115,000.
All in.
All in.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my word. And what are you selling those for? He says, I'm selling them for $199. That's their ARV. So I'm like, okay, you're making a pretty good split or a pretty good spread, right? So I'm now thinking, holy crap, I could go to Cheryl and I could say, Cheryl, I can buy this house from you and I can buy Blake's lot, build the house, and I can make a little bit of money.
So because you got your, ear to the pavement, you're trying to now merge two independent deals going on.
Right.
Okay.
Which is cool. So yeah, I've got an independent deal with Blake that I've already said no to. I've got Cheryl, a deal that I've also said I'll buy for $130, but I'm not going to pay what you want, which is $160.
So no deal on either one of them.
No deal on
at
either
this
one,
point.
which happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like when you're a wholesaler, you're seeing these leads coming to you, and it just nothing had clicked to me until this gentleman told me that night at dinner, "Hey, I'm buying. I have a mobile home dealer, sells the thing. They come install it. Blah blah blah." I'm like, I could be all in on that deal. Lot, house, installed.
115.
115.
Selling. And Pace, well, imagine if you would not be such a good networker. You're not out talking to other people doing things in your market.
Yeah, you're sitting there.
You wouldn't even know about this.
You're sitting there just watching Jerry and Pace's YouTube channel and not actually out there going and networking. Go out and network, guys. Please go out and network. This is where things magically happen.
Hey, just a quick thanks to one of our sponsors, and we'll get right back to the video. This video is brought to you by PropWire. Now, I get asked all the time how to find motivated seller leads, and PropWire is simply the best software for finding leads and downloading lists. And the best part is, it's 100% free, and there are no limit to how many leads you can download. PropWire has vacant houses, pre-foreclosures, absentee owners, REOs, auctions, high equity properties, probate, tired landlords, and more, plus custom filters and stack lists so that you can laser target the most motivated sellers in your area. Plus, they have cash buyers and private lenders nationwide, so you can quickly wholesale houses and fund your rehab projects. Oh, and one more thing. This is not some 7-day free trial that requires a credit card. Anyone can create a free account with just their email address and start building lists and downloading leads for free right away. Check it out at joinpropwire.com.
So I call Cheryl the next day and I go, I can make this deal work. I can get you a 3-bed, 2-bath house, brand new, if you will sell this house to me for $130. And she goes, I'm actually on my way to sell this property for $160.
Oh no.
And so I go, look, Cheryl, like you've been renting for 14 years at $1,500. What if I could have you own a property, 3-bed, 2-bath house, let you pick the paint colors, literally open up a catalog for mobile homes and pick your floor model, pick the floor, pick the carpet. And she was so excited about that.
And she was okay with the lot location.
She was
Mesa
okay with
and
everything.
Yeah.
In fact, it was closer to where her daughter lived. Her daughter lived with her and was helping contribute to rent. So her daughter was excited. Her daughter worked at the Walmart as a greeter and was like, oh my gosh, it's closer to where we live. So essentially what I did is I bought Cheryl's house for $130. I took her $130 house and I wholesaled it for $160. So right out of the gate, I made $30,000 on wholesale.
And so that investor bought it for $160 and did whatever, rented it, whatever.
I have no idea what they did.
So now that little 2-1 probate house is out of the picture.
Actually, you know who I sold that to was Jamil.
Okay.
I sold that to Jamil for $160. He probably went.
He probably wholesaled it for $190.
He could have wholesaled it for $190. That's that Jamil Damji, guys. If you're not following, you got to follow him.
Yeah.
He bought that for $160. He never buys and flips anything really. He takes that and he wholesales it to another buyer. Right. He has a bigger buyer network. Again, networking. So for that $160, I make $30,000 up front, which is great. Then I tell Cheryl, I'm not going to let you have that $130,000. She goes, well, what are we going to do? And I said, Cheryl, we're going to create a note for $130 that I owe her money, and that I have to use this money to go build a house for her.
So you guys following that? Pace keeps the $130, doesn't give it to her. The note then is the loan.
Yep.
So she's doing a loan to you.
Yep. And
on the new deal.
What I did to keep this really safe is I went to Carrie. I don't know if you ever use Carrie Persons, but I use Carrie Persons. She's an escrow agent, and I had the money stay at the escrow office. So I never touched the money until I needed it. Does that make sense?
That's for note.
There you go. So I create a note. Carrie Persons managed that note, and I said, hey, Carrie, I need $30,000, whatever. I then go to Blake, and I say, hey, Blake, I want to buy that lot for 19 grand. He was about to sell it to somebody else. I saved the deal, which is great. I buy it for 19 grand. I take a portion of the 130.
What did he make on the wholesale?
He had it under contract for 9.
So he made 10.
He made 10.
So he made 10.
Yeah, he made $10,000. And so here I am. I've already got a VW Bug because the sister who died left a VW Bug. I've got a VW Bug.
Part of the probate deal was a car.
Got a yellow Bug. Literally, it's at my office. My employees drive it and they have fun with it. Still, this is 3-4 years later. I made a $30,000 assignment fee, right?
Okay.
And I take the $130,000 and I go build a mobile home, buy the lot, let Cheryl pick out her house, and I'm all into that for $115,000.
So did you make another 15 then?
Made another 15.
Okay, so you guys catch that? So you got 130 in cash, but it only cost you 115.
Yep.
You sold it to a higher number, which you'll talk about in a second.
Right.
So you made another 15 on that.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just keeping a tally over here.
Okay, so I got the VW Bug.
Oh yeah, car.
I got the drive. There's my car. I got the car, the 30 grand, and the $15,000.
Okay.
Now here's the other thing. I could have done what this other mobile home seller was doing. Sold it to Cheryl for $199. But that's retail with a conventional loan. The power of seller finance is I can sell it for whatever price I want.
Way higher.
As long as Cheryl can afford the payment. So I reverse engineered. I said, what could Cheryl afford? Right? The most important thing is what can Cheryl afford, which was how much?
Guys, how much?
Yeah.
Let's see if who's paying attention.
How much money could Cheryl afford? She's been paying the same payment for 14 years.
Hope everyone said 1,500. Remember, her rent was 1,500.
Right.
So clearly she can afford 1,500.
So I reverse engineered and I found out that I could sell the property to her not for $199, which was retail, but for $299,900.
So when Pace says reverse engineer, what he's doing is he's saying, okay, well, if I start with a $1,500 a month payment, what interest rate and principal loan amount could I create that would equal $1,500 in monthly payment?
There you go.
And what did those terms look like?
So I sold the property to her for the $299 on paper.
$299.
Yeah, $299,900. So $100,000 over retail. Okay. Seller finance. This is the power of creative finance. She gave me the 130, obviously, she gave me down. So I financed her and I created a note, which I still have today, a big fat juicy note that says 169, 40-year terms at 9.5% interest on that deal.
And why 40 years?
Because it kept the payment at $1,500.
Right. So think about it, guys. The longer out the amortization, the smaller the payment gets.
Yep. So the more payments, the lower the payments go to pay that 169 off. So I get that payment. I showed this to you earlier. I get this payment every single month. It's one of my favorite payments I get. Oh, here's how they spell it. CHERYL.
Oh, it's your second version.
It's the second version.
Okay.
So I get a payment from her every single month. Here's the payment. Boom, boom, boom. And here's what's cool is I created $169,000 in equity, but it has a 9.5% interest rate on it. And now here we are 3 years later. She's still making the payment. I could be done with this deal.
So tell me, where'd my thing go? Where's your tally at? Okay, here's your tally. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's the spread on the sale then?
The spread on the sale is 169. Or no, the spread on the sale is $100,000.
$100,000.
Yep, $100,000.
But that's in the form of a note. Like that's through payments.
That's my note equity, yeah.
Okay, and that's at that 9.5 rate. So what would you say this is creating in
about $400,000
over time?
Over time, yeah.
If she stays in it that whole.
I'll probably make close to $400,000 on that note.
Over time, this converts to this. What is it monthly, roughly?
15,
your spread?
My total net.
Yeah.
After taxes and insurance are taken out, my net's about $1,200.
Okay, so you're clearing $1,200.
Yep.
Every month as part of your stack here.
Yep.
If she lives forever, right, or for 40 more years,
yeah.
That's what that's going to turn into.
Yeah, and this was a conversation that popped up too, is that she says to me, well, what if I die? I go, well, the note goes to your daughter. Like, your daughter can stay in the house. She's like, well, the house is in my name. How can I transfer it to my daughter? And I go, because you can sell your note subject to your daughter.
Oh. That's what we've been talking about.
Right. It's like it's crazy. It's this stuff is happening all the time in front of us. You guys just don't see it. And so,
What's fascinating, Pace, is these were two dead deals, two dead leads that you did, and you merged these together, and look at all of this upside you created.
yeah, and what's cool too is that along this way is I had a wholesaler a couple months ago calls me up and he says, "Hey, I see you have a note here on 91st Way." I go, "I'm not selling that note. I'm not selling that note. It's 9.5." He goes, "No, I see it. I see it on public record. It's a phenomenal note." But he says, "What if I could find a buyer that would pay more money than the 169 that's still owed to you?" And I go, "How much money? How much more money?" And he says 199. So I could sell that note today for $199,000. Essentially, this wholesaler is using your strategy in the book that you use on Amazon.
Yeah, guys. So if you didn't know, in part 1, video 16, we talked about how you can actually broker between note owners, note holders, and note buyers, and get paid a wholesale fee.
Yep.
So flipping notes. So what this wholesaler was doing, he said, "Hey, Pace, you are holding a note for 169.
Yep.
I know a note buyer that would pay 199.
Yeah.
And at first thought, people are probably like, well, why would someone pay that much more for a note? A 40-year at 9.5% interest. Because remember, what's that turning into? That's turning into 400,000 over time.
So wouldn't you buy 199 note that's going to turn into
400?
double
That's
your
why.
money?
Yeah, that's why they would double their money over time.
Right.
And what'd you say to this offer?
I said no.
Said no.
I said no. I was telling you earlier, it's because I love the story of the deal. And then you reminded me, like, well, that would be a pretty good story to sell that note for more money than you created it for.
We'd have to add another cash infusion to your stack of.
Right. Cheryl's been great too. She was like, anytime I want a testimonial or I'm creating a note and a seller says, "I've never heard of this before," I go call Cheryl. And this is what Cheryl says to the sellers, other sellers I'm doing business with. She says, "Pace changed my life because of this right here." She was renting for 14 years at $1,500 a month. And I came along and gave her actual ownership of a property. Whereas if I would have just given her the 160 she was looking for, whatever, who knows what she would have.
Isn't it amazing, Pace, that you made all of that money and solving problems and helping people? And she's an avid fan of you for helping her.
This is where I made wholesale. I made Rylas Dana look really good. Cheryl called Rylas Dana. If you called Rylas Dana right now and said, "Hey, does Pace take care of your clients?" He's like, "Boy, does he."
Yeah.
These people call me and say he changed their lives.
Yeah.
I'm not just coming in here and buying a wholesale deal. I'm buying a wholesale deal. By the way, anytime I buy a deal from Rylas, I kick him back $5,000.
Yeah.
Right? And it's
Awesome.
it's in his disclosures. He says to his clients, "Hey, I might make money on a
Finder
referral."
fee. Yeah.
And he made $5,000 out of that deal. It's just story on
And
story.
and this
on
is
story.
why, so Pace, one of the things that people will say is, I've had this comment when I talk about creative, they'll say, "I'm not ready for creative," or "I really don't want to do creative. I want to just wholesale." And I'm like, dude, you're totally missing the boat, because that's fine if you don't want to hold assets. I get it. You don't want to hold assets. That's fine. You can structure creative and wholesale your creative deal.
Yeah, you could have wholesaled the deal. Here's the other thing that you could have done on this deal is you could have wholesaled the deal to me like this and said, "Pace, how can I stay involved in the note and be a partner on the note?" And I would have done all the work.
Yeah.
You could have stayed along for the ride and just sat shotgun on the deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's unbelievable. The other thing is when people say, "I'm just going to stick to wholesaling," I'm like, that's like saying you're going to go build an entire house with a shovel. Or I'm going to go film an entire video with a microphone. Okay, bro, you're missing all the other tools. Right. I used so many multiple tools in here, which is why I made so much more money. And I tell this story or this analogy about the Native Americans using every part of the buffalo. I wasted no part of that buffalo. I used the hide, the horns, the hoof, the this, the that, and I'll make $500,000 on a deal that some other wholesaler would have only made 30 grand on.
Yeah, that's just phenomenal to structure like that.
And Jamil went off and made, let's say, 20 grand.
Yeah.
And what story does Jamil have to say?
Now he's got a story.
He won't even remember this deal.
No, it's just another deal out of 50.
He's like, I don't know. So it depends on what you want to do. But do you want to make money and then make more money and then more money? I say get the tools.
Here's what I hope you took away from this whole story. Here's what I hope you took away. You get paid in direct proportion to the problems you solve. Right? You want to make more money? Solve either more problems or bigger problems. That's how you make more money.
Right.
You took these situations and you solved all these problems.
Right.
And made so much money. That's the key. Wholesaling maybe can solve one piece of the puzzle, But if you can learn how to open up to all these other possibilities, now you're just solving more problems, and the more problems you solve, the more money you make.
Yeah, you got to ask it every time you guys wholesale a deal. One thing that I would challenge you guys to do is follow the paper trail of what happens after you wholesale. What are these guys doing? What are these girls doing that are out there buying the deal from you, and how are they going off and making money?
What are their exits?
Like this note that you just created, that land contract that you sold out. Where did that deal come from? Did you go and knock that door? Or did you buy that from a wholesaler?
The land contract deal?
No, the deal. Where did it come from? From a wholesaler?
From an agent, MLS. Yeah.
Okay, so the agent, here's the agent sitting here trying to get a commission on a deal.
Yep.
The agent has no idea that Jerry just created a note that will pay him for 30 years.
Yep.
Follow the paper trail.
So guys, I hope you are as excited as Pace and I are about doing these types of deals. And
Guys,
really,
we're so excited that Ben has to tell us to stop talking because we are so freaking excited to do this.
and we're burning through SD cards like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, tell Ben, shout out to Ben for keeping us under control to get into episode to film number 18.
18.
Okay.
But guys, honestly, if you really want to learn creative financing at a whole nother level, go to paceandjerry.com. When you go to there, there's a page where you can sign up for a free strategy session. You're going to sit down with Pace's team and really see if creative finance is the right move for you. What they're going to do is they're going to help you decide if learning how to do creative in Pace's mentorship program is the right thing, how to learn this, how to structure it, how to go out there and do it, how to collaborate with other students in the program. It's just so interactive and so much to learn and do. That's great. I don't know what we're doing on number 18. What are we doing? Something fun.
You've got a deal you want to.
Oh, yeah.
To just go to banter back and forth on.
Love to. Yep. Awesome deal that I'm exiting from with creative.
Okay.
And it fits the market conditions right now. So awesome. Watch for that, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
Boom.